Yeah, it's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call time out. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleepy paths or allowed to morning. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 reasons sports from the court to the streets. Yeah, Wade County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome back to 5 on the Floor. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Today's floor plan, we're coming to you directly after preseason game number 2. The Miami Heat fall to the Milwaukee Bucks at home, 103-93, but the score is not the story. With me, Major Passons. You will be hearing a lot of Major, Adele, others throughout the season on our home game, post-game shows. We are going to do a whole bunch of them live on YouTube. So just giving you guys who are loyal listeners a sneak peek into that. But we also are going to be doing a ton of in-game stuff and post-game stuff on Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. Use the link in the description of this episode. It's $2.99 a month, $3.99 on your Apple device. It's the most heat anywhere. We have channels clearly defined to talk all of the different angles of your Miami Heat. Go there. This is the place where we're going to put information first when we hear things throughout the season. So this is a good place to basically take all social media apps, funnel it all into one location for all your Miami Heat needs. Off the Floor. Check that out. Also going to give a quick shout out to PrizePicks. It is daily fantasy simplified, as all sports are now back in full effect. You know, whether it's NFL, NBA, you need to go to PrizePicks. Use the code 5, FIVE. That's going to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5. This is daily fantasy simplified in that you pick your favorite players, choose the statistics that make sense to you, and you choose more or less on those stats. You can get flex plays, power plays, PrizePicks. Use that code 5 to get $50 instantly in promo funds when you play your first $5. All right, Major. So it's preseason game number 2. The first game was in Puerto Rico. They are now back in Miami. They played Milwaukee without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, the Heat are still missing a ton of guards. They did go with the same starting lineup that we saw in Puerto Rico, and that was Norman Powell, Nico Jović, Jaime Jaquez, Andrew Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo. There's a ton of takeaways, and we're going to get into specific players. Anything that, without giving away what we're going to talk about in future segments, just overall thoughts in not just tonight's preseason game, but your thoughts on the team and how they've looked so far in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's preseason. You just played the Bucks without their best player. And you're missing Tyler Hero, who's one of the Heat's best players. So a lot of this is going to change whenever they're healthy. And then, as you alluded to, somehow Drew Smith is our most healthy guard right now. And that's not like a shot at Drew Smith. It's just like, you would think the guy coming back from a season-ending injury that they didn't even know if he would be ready for the start of the season is like literally your only guard available. So a lot of this is going to change. So it makes it kind of hard to know what's real or not. I don't think it's going to be our player of the game, but like Wiggins, he looks more comfortable in the sense of like, he looks more like he knows how to be a part of this team. And Wiggins, a part of his career in Golden State, has been like that glue guy. He looked more to that kind of level. Last year when he went to the Heat, he had some big games, but he also looked like he didn't fit the team. He looked, even though it's preseason, even though it's just a couple minutes, even without Tyler Hero and some of the point guards, he looks like he fits a little bit more. That could be huge for this team. not only on the offensive end, having that supplemental guy that can hit the open three, occasionally go get you your bucket. He also adds athleticism as well as on the defensive end, which we all know Spo and every Heat person should love defense.
Andrew Wiggins is a total X factor, and it's going to be huge that he has a good start to the year, because without Tyler, they need his offensive, not just skill, not just ability to just put the ball in the basket, which last season, even for Miami, he averaged in upwards of 19 a game. So like, we knew he could score, but it was how he was scoring. It was how he was integrated into the offense. I agree. I think he's a major key. And he looked good again today. We'll talk more about what the real highlight was with Andrew Wiggins in a moment. Before spoiling any future segments, let's get into the first segment. And yes, we have a couple returning sponsors that we're very proud to bring back. Let's get into the first one, A Aggressive Insurance.
And now it's time for the A Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the Heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So the player of the game, if we were to box score watch, which we are not box score watchers here at 5 on the Floor, just to clarify, it'd be hard to pick against Kel'el Ware. So this is going to be a 2-part conversation, Major. One, we're going to get into the guys that I think we should acknowledge as the players of the game. It's going to give us a forum to talk about 2 guys that I think if they get off to a good start, it's going to mean a lot for this team being the best version of whatever Eric Spoelstra is hoping that he can, pull out of this group. But then we're going to need to talk about how Kel'el Ware can get 18 and 13 in this game, be a minus 21 and plus minus, and just we'll kind of dissect that. But let's start here. The good stuff. Norman Powell is a smooth scorer, and it looks like he feels good with the Miami rims. They are kind to him. He was 6 of 12 tonight, 3 of 6 from 3. He just looks effortless. He doesn't waste motion. Also, Nico, he was on triple-double alert, 9, 8, and 7. That's points, rebounds, and assists. He played 23 minutes. He continues to just look like a guy that if they give him a ton of minutes, he's going to fill up the stat sheet. And I just love the creativity and seeing a guy be able to finish around the rim the way that he does at his size. It's refreshing to have 2 guys that I think Heat fans maybe didn't conceptualize how important they would be to all of this, because the focus has been on Bam and Tyler. But Norm and Nico, Major, they both look good today. Your thoughts on those guys in what admittedly is only preseason game 2?
Yeah, I think they were by far the 2 best players for the Heat. When you're watching the game, especially in the first half, when it was kind of more so of the starting lineups. So Norm, obviously, he's a bucket getter. Without Hero, he's going to have even more of a chance. Norm arguably should have been an all-star last year. He was like right on that fringe. So you're getting a very, very good score. And one thing that stuck out to me with Norm, and I mentioned this on the Discord, is he runs to a place on the floor, not to just get a pass, but where he can get a shot up. And so it helps out the passers too. Nico benefited a couple assists from it. Everyone did. Even just the flow of the offense. And yes, it is preseason. I do want to say that. Everyone wants to talk about pace and everything like that. Last year, they played with a quicker pace in preseason, and the regular season they didn't. But it's little things like running with a purpose, not just running around just to run, or just backing up to get a pass, but actually moving to where it's an easier pass and get a shot up. Those things are going to help throughout the season. He seems to be a very smart offensive player and know to pick your pockets. Nico, I think you're kind of seeing that, like, people talk about like the European basketball where it's very team oriented. And that's what I keep seeing more and more of Nico whenever he gets to be unleashed. He's not selfish. Sometimes he should be more selfish. Like when
Agree.
you need to lower your shoulder. Next time he did, but you do see that occasionally. It's almost like Jimmy Butler-esque where you're like, dude, take the layup. But that is a good attitude to have, especially still as a young player. And then his size, his shooting ability, everything just seems like it's starting to come together. And I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star. I'm not saying he's going to win most improved. I think he could maybe be in that conversation of most improved. But
I'm willing to say that he can be in the conversation. That is a reasonable expectation.
I think that's
placed
reasonable
on him.
Yeah, I some people are like, I think expecting like 18 to 20 points.
That's
I
a
don't
little
think
much.
that. I think you might see just like a overall impact of his game, even if his points, I think they said he averaged 10 or 11 last year. If it goes up 1 or 2, but his efficiency is good, his impact and even other things that don't show up in the box score, I think that's more so what we're going to be seeing this year from Nico.
Yeah, I thought both of those guys looking good. We know what we're going to get from Tyler. We know what we're going to get from Bam. I'm not really monitoring those guys here early, and Tyler obviously is not playing. So this was about how are they going to shoulder the burden of not having Tyler early. You're going to need Norm to figure things out quickly. It looks like he's just kind of a plug and play type of player, and that's perfect for what they need. And I'm just interested when they get some of these guards that have been out, what this could look like, because they're relying a lot on, they had Jaime initiating some offense. They had Nico initiating offense. Obviously, Bam brought the ball up a couple times. Norm did his thing as well. I'm interested to see when they have a little bit more flexibility with the guard rotations, what this could ultimately look like. But truthfully, this segues right into our next segment, because Norm is getting acquainted with some of the players that we think will start next to him as the season unfolds. And we'll get to the play of the night right now that includes Norm and somebody we spoke about earlier. Let's just get to it.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
So it was early. This game, early on, you saw the Heat tried to continue to push pace. Let's just pump the brakes on how much of that's going to change, really. I think we should acknowledge that. They had 23 turnovers tonight. I can tell you that if that is what the regular season brings, Spoelstra's going to tell them slow the hell down until they stop turning the ball over. So let's just see how that unfolds. But tonight, Norm got out on the break and he threw one up pretty high to Andrew Wiggins, who showed us some of the athleticism that I think maybe sometimes, because his game can be effortless at times, I would say it's you maybe forget how athletic Andrew Wiggins really is. They threw the alley-oop up there. It was early in the first quarter. Beautiful play. Good to see the starters starting to get to know one another. So that was the play of the game. But I want to circle back to a topic, and we'll close the loop on it before we have just parting shots on some of the other players that I think are worth mentioning. But Kel'el Ware, Major, he played 23 minutes. He had 18 points, 7 of 15, 13 rebounds. And on the surface, that looks like a really productive game. And there was not all bad moments. And we received a little bit of criticism. Ethan and I were pretty hard on Kel'el Ware after the first game. I think he was better tonight. There were situations where he went up, basically on the offensive boards and and he fought for rebounds. There, it wasn't completely like him being in the wrong place at the wrong time and looking like he doesn't know where he's supposed to be. But there's also moments where guys that are named, and let me go look up his name one more time. Bear with me, y'all. This is how we do this here on 5 on the Floor. Pete Nance was doing things that he shouldn't do to Khalil Ware. What are your thoughts on Ware? Because I thought that they may try the Ware Bam pairing to start the season. And this was back in July that Ethan and I are debating as we're trying to get through these months doing all these shows. He said Nico was going to get the spot. It looks like he's going to be right. I'm a little concerned with Khalil Ware. It's not that he's not putting up good numbers, because obviously tonight he got to be the focal point amongst a lot of, like guys that are playing for either a two-way spot or just rotation minutes, etc. So I don't want to make too much of it, but what are your thoughts on his approach coming off of a weird summer league just tonight, but also overall heading into the season?
Yeah, first off, Pete Nance, Tar Heel legend. So shout out to him. But where I'm not going to be too hard on him. All right. Everyone knows I'm the guy. Me and Adele, ironically, are like the two that are the hardest on Ware. And y'all hear a lot of us from this year. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of times for it to come up. But second game of the preseason, like you said, I'm going to focus more on the fourth quarter. That was what we wanted to see in the summer league. He earned my trust last year to where, was he a perfect player? No, but I was saying he should play. He should start. He earned it. I want to see what that looks like. There was no doubt in my mind before summer league that Ware was going to start this year. And then he came out and did whatever the heck that was and just like didn't play. And then watching Jović, I think Jović kind of took it from him too. It's not just Ware did it. Jović played really well in his national team and probably in practice too, and now in these preseason games. So I think it is a mixture of both of those, but I think now for sure Ware should start off on the bench, if only to send a message, and they've been sending multiple messages to him if you start looking at everything, that this is not acceptable. Precious being signed, Ethan kind of hinted at it, and I tend to agree. Think that's also kind of a message, because not a knock on Precious, he's not the most talented player in the world in the sense of like when you look at Ware, who has all the talent. He's a hustle guy, which is kind of the opposite of Ware. So I think there's a lot of things trying to send messages. Does that mean Ware's not going to be good this year? No, that does not mean that. It's second preseason game. It could turn around. Fourth quarter, it did. He dominated like we wanted to see. He looked like the most talented and the best player on the floor, which he is, especially against that competition. We just got to see it a little bit more consistently. Greg, you mentioned this, like him saving the ball under the basket, right? That stuff happens a little bit too frequently where it's like, hey, this is basic basketball stuff. And so if it happens every once in a while, every player makes mistakes, but it's when it builds up on each other, they stick in your mind a little bit more too. So maybe in his defense, maybe we focus on it and hyper focus a little bit more, but I think with Spo, we'll see that to start turn around, or he's just flat out not going to play because we know Spo.
Yeah. And just to be clear with our audience, I thought that he responded well tonight. There was a moment where he saved the ball underneath the other team's basket, and you learn really early in basketball that that's not something you should try to do. I understood why he did it. There were guys standing around that could easily catch the ball, but just as a general rule, you don't do that. And so it's those lapses that you start to just get worried with. I think Spo, in an effort to get the offense to move faster, he's also going to be really he's going to have to be pretty rigid with guys that make mistakes on offense and ridding the offense of that, because they can't afford any of that inefficiencies or guys being in the wrong place at the wrong time, etc. So we'll see more from him, but he did respond well. He played well in the second half. To close up shop on this game, I just want to give a major shout out to Myron Gardner, who continues to he's not playing perfect basketball. I'm not saying that at all, but I think he is earning his way into the two-way, one of the 3 two-way spots. I know he's already signed to one of those. You're starting to see why. I just think he's a guy that he fits what they're trying to do. Wasn't particularly efficient tonight, but still dug in for rebounds. He was a guy that, to me, I think we should continue to monitor. Kashad Johnson, I'm worried about him. The ball handling is still just such a challenge. And then a stark contrast to the first game, Trevor Keels, who didn't miss a shot, was 0 of 8 tonight. So you just see that a lot of these guys that are fighting for these two-way spots and also just trying to figure out the roles in the league, it's going to make it a lot better when guys like Pele Larson and others that we're expecting to fill the Heat bench are back, Davion Mitchell. But also these guys are going to have good nights, bad nights. Myron Gardner, though, appears to be a keeper. Your thoughts on those, on basically all the rest of the guys that we haven't talked about yet before we close?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. Young sometimes has some good moments where he makes a good play, but I mean, he was 1 for 6 today, but sometimes he's like, oh, that was a nice play. Keels, yeah, he's going to be hit or miss type guy. And a lot of these guys they have a lot of talent. I mean, everyone in the NBA has a lot of talent, right? And they can have those really good games. It's more about consistency. So I think that's what a lot of people look for. The only player we really didn't mention, there's 2, is Jaquez and Bam. Both of them didn't have their best games. Jaquez, he's got to figure something out. Just still looks like he needs to get a little bit more calm. Bam had a lot of turnovers today, but early in the preseason, not too worried about either of them. I think Jaquez still has some time to figure it out, and maybe will be in a more favorable role, hopefully, whenever people come back. So we'll see. But excited for the Heat to start playing basketball. There's nothing better.
Yeah, they're definitely back. Jaquez does not they're not doing him any favors with rolling him out there with that starting group. I think that there's other roles that will be better for him. Hopefully the Heat will continue to get guards back, and then they can start to play maybe more of what the rotations could look like heading into the regular season. But the Heat are now 0-2 in the preseason. The beauty of that is that it doesn't matter what your record is. We're looking for players that jump out and make us watch, as Spo says, make us notice them. So that's the point of the exercise when we do these post-game shows during preseason. Thank you for joining us. We will have you covered for the next game on Wednesday. And then on off days, we got a bunch of episodes, including more interviews from Media Day that are coming soon. Major, thank you for your time. And that's a wrap. Peace.